Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this very, very special event. Why is it special? I'm going to play. I'm going to play a bunch of great songs today. Hopefully, some you might have heard before, maybe some new ones that are some that I normally don't play. And I'm going
No,
to.
you got to click that.
You got to click that. Okay, I can hear you. All right, so I'll just start off with some music, and then I'll tell you what I'm playing on because I had someone asking before we started, what are you playing on? Well, you'll know in just a minute. Let me start off with some music, shall I? Yes? Big round of applause. Oh, thank you. Please stop, stop, stop. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Open, hold the applause. And so the question is what organ am I playing? Well, it's an organ that some of you may have heard about, but not enough because we don't have very many of them. And it's called the Stardust Gold. Stardust Gold. What is the Stardust Gold, you say? It's an organ that's gold with the word Stardust in front of it. Ha 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 ha. No extra charge for the humor today. Okay? Yes, free of charge. Well, let me tell you a little history. Now, some of you may have had in your career, in your musical hobby career, an organ called the Stardust, or you've been at a Fletcher Music Centers and you've seen a Lowrey Stardust. Well, back about several years ago, give or take 4 or 5, I don't know the exact time, we actually approached Lowrey on a concept that some of you are aware of that we do in some of the models in the last few years. And what we did is we asked and they delivered. And what they did for us is we had at the time, we had some Lowrey Stardust in stock, not a lot of them, and we thought it would be great if we could offer the Fletcher Music Club members a Stardust product and do something extra special on it. And so what they did is, when I say they, Lowrey and of course with Bill Curry and what have you, is what Bill did is they took some of the best styles and sounds from our flagship models at the time and they put them on here. So that was a brand new style. Now hold that thought because I'm going to end the show with that same style with a different song. And so throughout the show, when I play a style, and the sound, and I'm going to keep this simple. I'm not going to go into presets and all of that because, you know, everything that's on the Stardust is still there. So I'm going to just kind of have some fun playing a bunch of music with all these extra goodies. The styles automatically pick all these wonderful sounds, and then occasionally I'm going to put some presets, some of the new presets that you'll hear throughout the show. And I'll let you know what organ that style was originated on. Now, Some of you, I noticed, I'm looking around, looks like we have an aria owner, grand marquis, marquis. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of these styles, but you maybe hear them a little bit differently. So, in keeping things moving.
I just figured out why I'm not hearing it.
You did? Okay.
Just
Well,
Fletcher's.
that's good to know. All right, for this next song,
TV plugged in.
now keep in mind too that as I'm playing, I put a little cheat sheet together. There's a lot of styles on here, as you can see, and then I put notations on all the ones I want to play, and I just stopped because I figured, you know, I'd like to play them all. So I'm going to play some songs, and then I'm going to do a little batch of songets. You know what a songet is? It basically means I'll play a little piece of it. So I'll play a bunch of pieces of it so I can show as many wonderful styles as possible. Now, let me start off with a song, continue with a song here that many of you heard before. But when I was rehearsing yesterday, I had to see if it worked the same way. Now, this may go back a little bit before your time, but I don't know if you know the name Nat King Cole. I'm just looking. And thumbs up. Anybody know? Your mom and dad may have told you about Nat King Cole. Yeah. And Nat King Cole had a lot of great hits. And when the organ, the Palladium, and then subsequently the Prestige, and then of course every model thereafter, introduced this style, I was just blown away by it. Everybody who loves this kind of music will play this style from time to time. And the style is called Unforgotten, okay? Now, on the Stardust Gold, what's really clever, there's two ways, easy ways to find these styles. If I put on any of my rhythms on the variations, and I just go to there's actually a button called Stardust Gold now, or if I go on my style list, they're all grouped in the same category. And so I'm just going to find Unforgotten for the unforgettable music of Nat King Cole. Now here's what I'm going to do with the song. I'm going to pick a style, rhythm preset, and I'll just pick a preset and play the song. And what I'm going to do is use sheet music, easy play, just like everyone else would. Okay, you can see it's simple and what have you. And I'm going to play the song from beginning to end. Okay, I'm not going to do any FX or fill-ins on the organ. I'm just going to play the melody, and I'm going to let the background, the rhythm style, do all the work for me. And listen closely. So if you see me put my hands up in the air, because I'm letting you hear those fill-ins done automatically. So I'm just going to play it as I see it, and here we go. To the crowd too. applause. Stop, hold the applause. Oh, you're so great. You're so great. So, did you notice? Now, I didn't use any feelings of touch bars, and I purposely try to show just one or two finger play. So, as I was playing that, that style, as many of you probably have, does all of those fill-ins perfectly for it. Now, just something, a little side note. If you go putting on alter style, then you can play any other great standard that works really well with that style of music. So you're not restricted to just Unforgettable. Now, let's do a little bit something different here. What do you think? A little country music? Any country music lovers there? Let me hear you. You can unmute yourself for this. Just tell me. Let me hear.
Go for it.
You like country music?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what country?
Yeah.
What country? Oh, stop it. Folks, this is what you get for a free show, okay? All right, and there are no refunds. I'm just telling you right now. This is recording. I've got it on recording. No refunds. All right. We'll do a little country music here. Now, this next style. Oh, by the way, this next style was originally introduced on an organ called the Lowrey Imperial. Now, the Lowrey Imperial, some of you are maybe familiar with it. It's a phenomenal model. Someone's raising their hand there. I'm assuming they have one. Is the only model that had actual speakers in the bench, and it was a limited production model. And then after they stopped making it, this amongst many styles was such a loved style that they put it in obviously the Lowrey Sterling. Now I have a book here that I'm going to occasionally use. It's called the Lowrey Sterling Songbook. And let me see. I think that song is in here. I'm going to play a little Johnny Cash here. Any of you know who Johnny Cash was? Your mom and dad told you about them too, huh? All right, so I'm going to, the style is called Ring of Cash. And the song that works great with it is obviously Ring of Fire. Let's see here. That's there it is. Now, I'm going to have a little fun with it, because I might throw in another song and to show you how great and diverse the style is. So all I do is find the style Ring of Cash. Again, introduced on the Imperial, and then subsequently on the Sterling officially at the production model, and then, of course, every model thereafter. I'm just going to put on my rhythm preset, get a nice little country guitar on, and here we go. Oh, isn't that fun? Now, just a little, for those of you who have that style, the Easy Play music that I'm using tells me where to do it, but I kind of know where to do it as well. But if you hold the FX on that style, it'll actually, let's see, where is the, we'll bring Ring of Cash. All right, so this is the style as it normally is playing. If you hold the FX or the fill-in, it'll automatically do that part of the song. Listen, the horn. So if you're wondering where were those coming from, I wasn't reaching up, touching any buttons. I was just using my fill-in switch or the touch bar if you're more comfortable with that. Now let's slow it down a little bit to one of my. This is actually a very pretty song, and I wasn't going to do it today. And the reason why I decided to do it is we had a class an hour before, and I heard the song being played several times throughout the class, the person that was teaching, and I thought, that's a pretty song. I think I'll feature it today. And I'm going to use a new style. This was actually introduced for the very first time on the Sterling. And when the Sterling was introduced, they introduced a concept called the pianists and guitarists. And so I was looking through my styles, and I thought, you know what? And I think I actually have the music. Let me see. I might make less mistakes if I have the music. And the style that I'm going to use is called Heart Songs, and it's a pianist style. And what that means is that the background, the accompaniment, is predominantly a piano player. And it's just a gorgeous style altogether. And you can, when I heard this style, I was thinking, I was like, oh, I could play this song with it, I could play that song, I could play all sorts of pretty ballads with it. Obviously, this will work real nicely with When You Wish Upon a Star. You can play Memory from Cats, you can play The Rose, to you name it, all sorts of great songs with it. So let's see here. I'll start off with this is called Heart Songs, and ooh, it's in the key of F.
Beautiful.
Isn't that pretty? Now all I did is I used like 2-3 rhythm presets that was built right in. So today what I want to do is I didn't want to get too fancy in the setups. I wanted to use what was there in front of me. So if you see me reaching up, hitting buttons from time to time, all I'm doing is I'm finding a preset and I pull up the screen to see what kind of sounds I'm getting. I'm just going to try them out as I go, okay? And of course they're pretty because these styles came from some of the expensive models. Now, by the way, let's see, you can't see it from there, but I'm not using it. The Stardust Gold, by the way, because it was an SU series model, all of the SU series models for the software usage used the 3.5-inch floppy disks. Some of you might be, if you remember the floppy disk days, yeah, some of you may have an or Stardust or what have you. And what we did, not only did we convert our Stardust, a very small handful of these, we were also able to convert it with a USB drive. So now we have USB. Look at that. Ooh, I got a fancy one. This says Stardust Gold. This USB right there is worth thousands. If someone buys this USB, I might even throw in the organ for free. That's how. No, I'm just kidding. I could see now. I could see you. I see you picking up the phone. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But it is now it is now USB driven. Now, I think I'm going to take another song, and this was a style that was introduced actually originally on the Prestige. And what's interesting is I don't hear this style a lot, but it's actually a really great style, especially if you like, for those of you who like jazz music or standards. And I'm not talking the slow standards like, Moon Glow and that. Those are great too. But something that just it's got a little bit of a swing feel to it. And I noticed the style existed on this model, and I thought, what can I play with it? And I thought of this song. Now, this is kind of interesting because most people play Fly Me to the Moon. It's written in 3/4, but most people play it as a 4/4 style. The style is called Jazz Club. And you'll see why I like this. It's just a smooth sound altogether. And I'll use some of my new category presets here. Let's see. Let's try this sound right there. And I'm just going to play it from beginning to end. It's just a fun style, easy to follow, classy. It's got it all. Listen. It's interesting because I'm not using a lot of great different sounds or presets, just 2 or 3, just to get the point across that you don't have to do a lot. That is such a smooth style, isn't it? Now I've got to do this one. I don't know if Joe Fontesha is on. I have to thank him for this. But years back in 2000 and what was it, 10 when the Imperial was introduced. And after that, and I tell this story to some, I had, at the time, Joe Fontesha was not with Fletcher Music Centers. I think he was living in Mexico.
He's here.
He's there?
Yes.
Okay. So Joe Fontesha was living in Mexico, and because he was so close, it was easy to hire him occasionally, bring him to Arizona to do concerts and workshops. Um, and then he came in and he was doing one of his shows, and he used this style for the song called Fan of the Opera, which I love to play, as many of you know. Some of you know this. And um, and I heard him playing it, and he was telling everybody he was going to use this style. And I thought, well, he's just nuts. I think he's lost it. And then I realized and I remembered that he's always been that way. So, but it was a great idea. And I'm not going to use any fancy. I'm just going to use what I have built in. The style is called Slumdog. Some of you know this because I've taught this in one of my workshops. And it's inspired by the movie Slumdog Millionaire. So it's got that kind of a feel to it, which takes place in the Middle East. But normally when you put on this style, if you put it on and just hit a C chord, it sounds something like this. A lot of people say, well, what do I play with that? You could play songs like Temptation, works really well with that. I've heard Dennis All use that style for that song. But when I heard Joe Fontesha, I basically, when he left back to Mexico, it was such a great idea. I started using it and letting everybody know that I came up with the idea. And then, of course, he came back to Fletcher Music Center, so now I have to give him credit again. So here we go, Slumdoggy. Now that same style, and the only thing I'm going to do is transpose it down to the key I like to play it in, and watch what happens. Same style, different key. Here we go. Impressive, huh? Now I see the look in your eyes. I know some of you who have the aria, what have you, going, I wonder if I should buy one of those. I know what you're thinking. But, that was, in a minor key, right? And I think sometimes we need to play something happy after a song like that with the minor keys, right? Or any song with the minor keys. I did Fly Me to the Moon, that was in the minor key. The Phantom of the Opera is in the same key, A minor. So I have a perfect style to play. And think about it. And this is just my opinion. But if you're ever having a bad day, and a lot of times we say, go play the organ because that's uplifting. But even more so, how about playing a polka? Right? Now think about it. Have you ever heard of a sad polka song? I don't think I have. In my 30 years of doing this, I've not yet to find a sad polka. And of course, if I'm going to play a polka, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to do a little traditional polka. I'm going to do a little rock and roll polka. Rock and roll polka, you say, does that exist? Yes, it does. In fact, the Beatles decided to write a polka song. When I heard this, when it first came out, originally on the Lowrey Prestige, I thought, the artist, I forget what it was, but he said, this is a Beatles polka. And I thought, Beatles polka? And sure enough, I went and listened to the original recording of the Beatles polka. It was almost identical. And the Beatles polka is Obla Di Obla Da. But if you really listen to that song, it's a polka beat. It's got a polka feel to it. I don't know if they did it intentionally or not. But to prove that it's a polka, I'll do Obla Di Obla Da. And then I'll play just a good old traditional polka. And it works perfect. Listen. Thank you. Fun. Now, I'm going to play a handful of songettes because I was looking at my list. I'm going, I got so many styles that I want to feature. I'm not going to have time to showcase them all. So I'll do a bunch of little songettes to really show off this wonderful instrument. It's very rare that we have one, and rare that we can even offer one on Zoom and to our students. So I'll start off with a style here that, let me try to think. What was this introduced on? I think this was originally introduced on the Imperial and subsequently on the Sterling. And I might have the song in here so I can at least get the first part of the song right. Let's see here. No, not that one. I got paper clips. I ought to use my paper clips to find. Oh, there it is. I think this was Captain and Tennille. Did I say that right? They had, was it Love Keeps Us Together? Wasn't that their song? So I'll play a songette, a short bit of this. This was originally introduced on the Lowrey Imperial, and the style is called Love Keeps Us. And really get moving. That's one of those styles that you need a good wake me up in the morning, or you need a good little exercise. You want to burn some calories. That's a great one. You kind of get moving around. Here's another one here for you. The little Songet. The style is called 6/8 guitar. This was introduced on the Sterling originally, and you can do a couple great songs with this. If you do it in a major key, it sounds like this. Probably play songs like, let's see. See if I can do it. Songs like Sleepwalking, but if you do the minor chord, check this out. This is going to be fun. All right. And of course, oh, that's great. Thank you.
Also the Rising Sun.
Also the Rising Sun. That's a great style because it's 6/8 guitar, but it's got a 6/8 pattern. So you could actually do, all those great 50s songs with it. Songs like Can't Help Falling in Love works great with that. You can do House of the Rising Sun, Sleepwalking, all these great tunes. And in this style here is just another one of those that was introduced on the Imperial and the Sterling, and it was called Smooth Foxtrot, which was, I might get this backwards, Benny Begin, it's Begin to Begin, it's Artie Shaw's arrangement of Benny Goodman playing it, or vice versa. Someone will get that straight to me someday. Here we go. Thank you. Please. Oh, you're too much. You're too much. And I'll play one more song yet, and then I've got another style that has to be played all the way through. And the Songet it's actually the style is called Trios Romanticos, which, believe it or not, was introduced on the Liberty. Now I said Prestige today, Sterling, but I was looking at my list. There's actually a handful of styles introduced on the Great Lowrey Liberty. There's actually even there was a couple of them that they took off the marquee, believe it or not. And this style is a Latin style, of course, and it's called Trios Romanticos. Just such an elegant Latin style. So if you like all those great Latin tunes, so much. Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, when the Imperial and the Sterling was introduced, there was one style that almost everyone fell in love with, because most people like a great, pretty ballad and a song that is undeniably one that is liked by most. Okay, I don't know if there's ever a song that's 100% liked or loved by most. And this style, I'm just going to play it as I see it from beginning to end on my music, is a style that a lot of you are familiar with. And the reason why I'm telling you, some of you may not have an instrument of this caliber, and if you've been thinking about moving up, all of these wonderful styles that I played today that bring out all these wonderful sounds naturally, all I'm doing is finding the new style, and there's two ways to do it. I just go under the Stardust Gold variation, or I look on the screen and they have all of those new Stardust Gold styles grouped together. But this style, many of you have it. I'm looking, I can tell what most of you have. And if you don't, you want to put this on your wish list. And the style is simply called Wonderful World. And obviously the name of the style kind of gives it away. The song is called What a Wonderful World. And I'm just going to use my simple, easy play music here. Let's see what... Let's put on some... Yeah, that's a pretty sound there. I'll just use preset. I'm going to use rhythm preset 4 on this one. And I'm just going to play from beginning to end here. And the fill-ins, the background, everything's done automatically for me. Listen. Thank you, please. Oh, stop it. You're going to make me cry. All right, I got one more song for you. I kind of opened up with the style, but I didn't play the song. I'll play the song, and then I'll play a little bit of the one that I played in the beginning. I love this rhythm style. It's a great, just upbeat. Now, just an FYI for those of you it applies to, the Stardust Gold, when it was introduced, we had at the time, if you remember what I said earlier, we had organs called the Stardust, which was a fabulous model in its own ranks. And what we did is we just made it even nicer at that time. The trick was, at the time, we only had, give or take, I'm trying to remember the exact number, but at the time, with all the stores we had in Florida and in Arizona, I think we had a total of about 24 Stardust in stock at the time. And we introduced the Stardust Gold, but it was kind of a one-time only opportunity. And we basically turned our Stardust into Stardust Golds, and obviously they're all sold. So when I get one back occasionally, it's kind of really nice to play. However, for a very short, limited time, for those who have an instrument as a Stardust or Royale, or if you have a Rhapsody, Legacy, Journey, Fanfare, Holiday Classic, Encore, Odyssey, Premier, Easy 4, Easy 10. I might be missing a few. Any of those models, and you always wish, boy, I'd like to have some of those high-end styles and sounds and features. Here's a great opportunity to get into an instrument that has that. But here's the kind of the neat thing about this. I mentioned organs today like the Prestige, Imperial, Sterling. I don't think I mentioned Patriot, although I saw a couple on the Patriot. And then, of course, the Liberty. Do you know what all of those models had in common when they were introduced? Well, for one, when they were introduced, they were all flagship models. They were at the top of the lines. And some of you may know this, but did anybody know what the top of the line Lowrey cost every time we introduced one, what our retail was? Now some of you should know this. They all listed somewhere between $70,000 and $75,000, and in even some cases close to $80,000. And rightfully so. They were phenomenal products. The beauty of the Stardust Gold is we're able to take some of those great styles and sounds. As you can see, all I did is I picked one of the styles and I just played the song for a very tiny fraction of the price or the cost that we used to offer those instruments. We have a limited supply that we can do this with. So if you're out there, you're watching, or depending on the instrument you have, what I'm going to strongly encourage you to do is get with your personal assistant and say, just out of curiosity, share that with me. Because I'm going to tell you, it's extremely exciting. So with that said, I'm going to close off with a fun number here. Because after playing today, I know some of you are looking at that and you're going, boy, you're the one that I really want, right? So I thought I'd probably play a song called You're the One That I Want to close off the show. See, every now and then, Jerome, I can make you laugh. He's heard all my jokes sometimes, and sometimes he's heard them over and over repeatedly, and he has to force himself to laugh. Every now and then I get a sincere chuckle. This style was introduced on the Lowrey Patriot, which was $79,995 or $80,000, a lot of money. And it's on here. I opened the show with it, and I'll close with it, and I'll do a little medley. I'll play You're the One That I Want, because I know you're the one that I want.
Oh, boy.
Yes, I know. Oh, you are the one that I want.
It's water here. I know you got your boots on down in South Florida, but I got mine on here too, Robert.
Okay. All right, so let me find the style. You're the One is what it's called. And a lot of people have fun with this because, you know, some people actually like the music from the movie Grease, and that's actually what it was inspired for. But if you kind of like your 50s rock and roll, this is perfect for it. So here we go. Let me put on, how about a little saxophone? Yeah, okay. We'll start off with something like that. And I'm just going to play it as I see it. Here we go. Thank you. The Lowrey Stardust Gold, everybody. Stardust Gold for the very first time on Zoom. The Stardust Gold. Oh, and thank you so much. Well, we hope you had fun today. You enjoyed the show. You took some notes, learned a few things. And for those of you who have been thinking, boy, I just wonder, I'll tell you, it is worth finding out because it is practically affordable for anyone, this model, the way we've designed it and the way we're offering it. So that's all I have for you, everybody. As always, stay safe, keep playing music, and mwah.